Hello and welcome back to the channel. It has been a while since I posted on YouTube, and man, I've been so busy. But now I want to get back and just use this platform as an opportunity to just share, to just hopefully help somebody who watches my videos and watches the channel. So just wanted to get back on here and do that. What I wanted to talk about is you know you come across so many people who, and people always say that they're broke, right? So a lot of people would say, I'm broke, I'm this, and trust me, I know what it's like to be broke as well. But when you really think about it, and I've been thinking about my life circumstances as well. When I think about this, I've been thinking about my life circumstances and growing up poor, and then I learned that you've got to be careful as I got older, right? As I got older, as I would read more, as I had the opportunity to go to college or university, and all that stuff, as I had the opportunity to interact with people who were also trying to do better for themselves, trying to live a better life. Um, and as I became more knowledgeable, more educated not in a sense of just theories in an academic classroom, but educated in a sense in how I started to understand life and understand how things work, and how the universe works. And when I say the universe, a universe of circumstances, and how we create certain circumstances that we have to deal with, and how we have to react to certain circumstances that we didn't intentionally intend to have to deal with, but it came our way anyway, right? So circumstances that we kind of just walked into that affected our lives. And so going back to the whole idea of being broke, I realized as I got older, as I became more knowledgeable, more educated, more interacting more with people outside of perhaps my initial circles, as I realized you have to be careful how you define the word broke in relation to you, and in relation to your life, because how you use that word, the power of words, right? So words are powerful, as you probably know, and the more we use a word is the more the word becomes who we are, right? So the more we use a word is the more the word becomes who we are. And so, as I said, I had to learn to look at that word broke in a completely different context than I first used to look at it. Now, I first would look at the word broke, and hearing it growing up, because, I grew up in a home that didn't have a lot of finances and stuff like that. And so hearing the word broke, it was, it's always like, you, obviously it's not having, right? It's not having, and then the entire aura of the environment, when you're broke and you growing up in a poor environment, the entire aura of that environment, it begins to resonate within you, and then it becomes you, it becomes who you are. And so people say they're broke. And then as I got older, I realized that you gotta be careful, as I said, how you define broke. And I realized that broke in terms has to be only in terms perhaps of money, not in terms of you being broken as a person. Because a lot of times, and I've come to realize this more, obviously now I get to know that I teach, right? And now that I have had the opportunity to mentor, and now that I've had the opportunity to coach hundreds of people just in the last 8 to 10 years. Um, I've I've realized that if you use the word broke and internalize that word and give it a certain connotation, right? Because the denotative meaning of the word broke means not having, or whatever the case is. That's a dictionary meaning, your denotative or denotative meaning. But your connotative meaning is the context and how you feel, how you use that word in relation to yourself. So when you say you're broke, are you specifically talking about your finances in saying that, you know what, I'm broke in terms of I don't have any money? Or are you beginning to internalize the word broke in a context which then says that you are a broken person? So not only financially, then are you challenged, but perhaps now you're also challenged mentally. And that is the key. Because there was a time when I thought broke meant that somehow my ability to be better, to be not financially broken, was hampered by the fact that I was broke. And so that's what I'm saying. You have to be careful how you use that word broke and the connotative meaning that you attach to it when you use the word in relation to yourself. It's self-perspective, right? What is your self-perspective? What is your perception of the word broke when you use it in relation to you? Because the more you say something over and over and over and over again, and you know, Maya Angelou used to love to say that, you know, words, they're in us, they become us, they're a representation of who we are, and so we got to be careful how we use those words. And so I realized that that whole idea is this whole notion of I have to be careful how I say broke. So now you got to separate it. I realized at a certain point I was financially broke, not mentally broke. And the difference between being financially broke and mentally broke is huge, right? Because if you're financially broken, which means your finances, you're poor financially, or whatever the case is, that is, believe it or not, easier to handle over time, to fix, to navigate, than it is to be mentally broken, right? Than it is to be mentally broken. So let's think about it. When we say broke, broke is about money, right? Broke, is it about money? Is it about money? Well, that's what a lot of people think. Broke is about money. But if we're talking about financially broken, it's not about money. It's about ambition. It's about self belief. But if you are mentally broken, if your perception of yourself causes you to see yourself not having the ability to accomplish, not having the ability to achieve, not having the ability to overcome, and then your words become, you know, your the words that you use become you, and you become the words, then what happens is there is an increased inability to overcome the financial aspect, right? Which is the whole idea of being financially broke, not having any money. That becomes more difficult because you don't have the ambition and the drive and the self-belief and the discipline to be able to do that. So financially brokenness isn't about money. Financially brokenness is about not having ambition and not having discipline. Now, I know some people would say, well, that's easy to say. You know, there are a lot of people there with ambition and discipline and drive. Well, yes. And that means, but you need that to be able to overcome whatever your circumstances. And trust me, I know what it's like to be broke. I'm telling you. I know what it's like to not have. I know what it's like to wonder what you're going to eat. I know what it's like to, in the past, uh, to be honest with you, have eviction notices on my door because I couldn't pay the rent. I know what it's like to be in that grocery store line calculating in my head, am I tapping into the electricity bill? Or am I tapping into the phone bill? Or am I tapping into the. So, how did I come through that? Because I believed in myself. No, I'm not telling you that it's going to be easy for you to, if you're living and your circumstances are tough or what. Trust me, I've walked that road. It ain't easy. It's not something that necessarily is going to happen in 6 months, in 1 year, 2 years, 3. You got to have a plan. And you got to be disciplined to be able to overcome your circumstances. And more than anything else, your perception of yourself matters. How you view yourself matters. And I'm going to make a completely separate video about perceptions. But I want to leave you with this. When we talk about broke, tell yourself this. It isn't about money. It's about ambition. It's about discipline. It's about, are you broken mentally? If you're strong, if you're tough, then you're able to overcome. Then you're able to achieve. Then you're able to persevere. Then you're able to push past the things that are holding you back. And then the money will come. Because you do realize a lot of people have money, but they're broken mentally. And unfortunately, sometimes we see folks might commit suicide. Folks might be depressed. And you look around and you say, man, you got all that money. I wish I had all that. I wish I had all that money. Because, man, if I only had that, you hear people say it a lot. If I only had that money, they were disciplined. They had the drive to get the money, but they were broken. And so the money didn't make a difference. That's a whole different video. So I'm gonna leave you with this. Okay, because I don't want to be like a pastor and say, because I already said I want to leave you with this, and I kept going. So I'm gonna leave you with this because I don't want to be like a pastor. But be careful of the words you use. Be careful of the things you say in your head, out loud, whatever, about yourself. Because you are the one who defines you. Those words, self-talk, we call it self-talk in communication in the academic world. That self-talk, if it's negative, it can destroy you. And so you might never experience financial happiness if you can't experience mental happiness. And mental happiness is more important than financial happiness. Think about that. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to leave your comments. Let me know what you think. Until next time, be good.